Alright guys, I'm going to show you what we got going on today. Got a standard cab, OBS, GM of course. And one of the biggest issues is not having storage space. So got a center console that I had made and everything, and it does alright, but lacks as much storage space as I need. On your Suburbans and some of your crew cab stuff, there was an option of having an overhead console. So I scooped this up from a guy, Coleman Payne, on one of the Facebook pages. He's got a ton of cool parts that, that way I gotta go to the junkyard and find them. We're gonna end up putting this, mounting it, and I'm gonna go over everything, how I'm gonna mount it and everything. And this came in gray, which I'm gonna be doing the headliner and suede, so I'm gonna go ahead and have my interior guy, Philip Carnell, knock all this out, cover this in the same blue material, just to match everything. It's a blue truck, blue interior. I'm gonna try to keep it as original looking as possible. I'm gonna change these bulbs out. I believe they're probably 194, so some LEDs. Should be pretty simple. I'm just gonna, it's only a 2-wire setup. I'm gonna run this off of the dome light, and the lights will always have power to them. You just gotta make sure to turn them off. It won't be a open door, closed door thing. But while we've got the headliner off, got a ton of parts going to be going on this thing. I'll go over everything we're going to end up doing. This is the start of the interior, upgrades and everything. I'm going to change all the gauges, decode and all. But I got some kill mat and a bunch of other stuff that's going to be going in there. But yeah, once I get it all mounted up, we'll go through the whole process of how we're going to do that. And that's going to be the first step, getting this interior going, is getting the console, basically marked up, get it mounted, pull it all down, have it all reupholstered. Oh, all right. The center console out the way. There's some room to work here. And if y'all haven't seen these center consoles, this is probably enough storage space. No cup holders or anything in this particular vehicle due to its a manual, so you don't have the the center mount 2 little cup holders, so there's really nothing to hold anything. So I ordered this, and you can send them a fabric swap or whatever you want to do to match this blue, but comes with a couple few cup holders and some pretty decent storage in there. But all it does is strap around the seat. Real cool for a couple $100, and it works for me. Got a nice little pad for my elbow as far as being able to reach the stick here. So it works out good. But when you are in first or third and sometimes reversing, you have a large cup, it'll kind of touch it. But I'm a pretty short guy, so taller guy would have the seat back. My seat's a little forward, so most people that are taller than, let's say, 5'8", probably ain't gonna have that problem. So yeah, I'll post a link or something along them lines in case anybody's interested in these. But like I said, you can get them whatever interior color you want, pretty much. They match some pretty good factory colors as well, and like I said, they seem to be pretty good quality.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
I guess it would help if I brought a little bit of light into the situation, huh? That might work a little bit there. You pull these sun visors off, all that's going to be getting covered with the same, it's a blue micro suede. But you can see the fabric roof isn't too bad, but it's 1992, so it's over 30 years old, and I do see a little bit of fading. Yeah, most people, they'd be perfectly fine with this, but hey, why not start here on the interior? So as far as mounting this console, I'm gonna get some interior markers to mark it up. Probably just gonna center the top here. Just light out, so I ain't trying to look like a vampire here, but it's got one mounting hole right there in the center. So I'm probably just gonna center this console up with the mount of the
rear view mirrors.
Just measure side to side, make sure it's perfectly straight. And then from a little bit of reading I did, some guys have had to trim, you know, some of this protruding mount, and a few people did it differently. They've put screws through these tabs and went into the steel as far as the roof panel. I believe it's, you got your outer shell, you know, which obviously you don't want to put a hole through that. And there's an inner shell, they say about a 1/4 inch screw. But what I'm going to try to do is do it the way it's factory mounted in your crew tabs. I believe they just have a couple slits right here and these two tabs there. They're supposed to slide in, then wherever the screw lines up here, when I center it up and mark it, I'll drill a screw in there, and that's where I'm going to, that's hopefully the only hole I have to put in here. And actually, yeah, I mean, I can feel obviously where the where your spring is for your sun visors. You can tell that there's a, you know, a little void in between. So you definitely have a little bit of sheet metal to work with. Just the last thing you want to do is put a hole in that outer shell. But yeah, it'll all look pretty slick when it's up, and not be too gaudy, but I think it's gonna look pretty sweet. All mount up real nice. I'm gonna get to work, get a little bit of that up, and see how it goes, and get back with you. All right, guys, I'm gonna give you all a little rundown of where we're at. This is definitely something you want to take your time marking up, making sure the overhead console is centered up, you know, before you start drilling holes and cutting into your roof here. But just do not skimp. Take multiple measurements, hopefully drill once, cut once kind of thing. But let me just show y'all where we're at. So right up in here, I drilled a small little pilot hole for the center screw that's on the console, and I kind of just matched that up with the center of the rear view. And then what I'm about to do, now that I've marked it, let's see if I can get some proper light here. Can't really see because I'm using gold, but I have 2 marks. Let's see, right here and right here. I'm going to cut these little slits of the plastic tabs on the console, you know, slide in there, and then you use the front screw to mount. So you have to put them little tabs up through there. And now, if that don't work, like I said, you want to measure side to side, how far away you want it from your plastic interior piece here with your dome light. You know, it's really personal preference. You only have about 3 inches maybe to play with, forward and back. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these slits cut and see if this works, slide it in like that. If it does not, then I'll come up with something where I cut the tabs off and maybe put a couple small 1/4 inch screws through the roof here, through the first skin of the roof. That's the main thing right here. I don't really like putting holes or slits in any steel on my truck, but all this will be covered up by a kill mat and by a headliner and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna make some slits, see if it mounts up like that, and we'll go from there. Show y'all some mocking up. All right, guys, a little update on how this overhead console is going. Got the kill mat all in here. Obviously gonna be recovering the headliner, redoing the headliner and all. This is all just mock-up purposes, and but yeah, I'm really happy with the way it came out. You know, there's really no gap all through here. So how I accomplished that is obviously drilling my small hole up here to mount, you know, obviously not piercing the outer shell, but instead just throwing some screws, you know, inside of here, inside this cubby, which you could do. You could cut the plastic tabs off and probably do that and have 2 small screws or something, mounting it into the steel with some self-tappers or something along them lines, or drill you a pilot hole. But what I did was I cut 2 little small squares in the first layer of sheet metal here, and use this original factory tabs that are in there, and obviously cut holes in the kill mat and everything. And when you install it, you just have to have a pretty extreme angle, and since it's plastic, it flexes. You just get your 2 little tabs in there like that, and then you just kind of angle it back and slide it with a little bit of knocking, you know, nothing much. And you just come up here, and your screw should almost line up. You know, you have a little bit of play, you know, left and right. But if you keep your holes tight and everything there, I mean, should work out pretty good. But I'm digging it. I mean, everything's real stiff. It's in there like factory, and you know, once you get something like this done, I mean, how often you have to take it down, you know? So it looks pretty slick. And like I said, if I've already had it on and off twice, be taking it off again to you know, wire up these lights to the dome light. And like I said, it goes on and off pretty simply now. And the less holes I've got to make in my sheet metal, the better. So 2 holes back here, drill 1 hole up here, mounts real nice. And I'm going to see about, with this little blind here, what they used to have in there, you know, on your Suburbans and probably some of your trucks, not 100% sure, where your AC controls. I obviously don't need that on this truck, so I might mount a boost gauge and an EGT or something right here instead of having the pillar all loaded up like most people. But I will be installing a winch on this truck as well, so might be installing a switch or something on the dash for that. But I think a couple gauges right here might look good, which is they're 2 and a 1/16, I believe. And I have some on my other OBS, so I might grab them or cut some little templates and see if I like them. If not, I'll just leave that, you know, blank like that till I find out what I want to do with it, and go with the pillar gauges. So we'll see what we want to do, but that's it for now. Alright guys, so what I ended up finding, changed these dome lights out, so we got a little brighter and better and less heat emitting LED. Because I had some of these, they weren't the 194s like I was thinking, which I think that's probably what you can use, but I didn't have any on hand. But I had these D15s sitting around, and I already checked them, made sure they worked. You know, they're bright enough for what I'm going to need. And you change out these old school little yellow lights, but being that the circumference of this circle is greater than the circumference of this bulb, I did have to just open the hole a little bit in there. No big deal, just don't go so deep that you you know, make your tabs here that hold the housing too thin, you know, because it's got a clip on each side there. So you want to make sure that you don't go so thin and go through there, which, I mean, you could always maybe, you know, put something on there, obviously, to hold it, wrap some tape around it or something, but let's just try to keep it nice and clean. But you know, you just open up that hole a little bit, and what I found worked easiest and best is a metal deburr bit, you know, on a little air tool, you know, but a little grinder. But that worked best for me, especially one this size. Not sure if you can see the scale of size there, but it fit down the hole, just made a couple little circles, and voila, fits like a glove now. Like a glove. All right, this thing wired up. One more test fit. All right, here's a little rundown what we got. Showed you how we wire it all up. Well, I went ahead and got some connectors, you know, with heat shrink around them. And I wanted to be able to take the console on and off in case I had any work or anything to do, which I doubt I ever will. But I had a ton of these connectors from whenever I did a new sensor in my coolant box or coolant tank. So hey, why not? On, comes on and off, ain't nothing to it. Got them wired up, shrink right behind there, and of course I'll hide all these wires under the headliner and tucked into the console. But as you can see, got, maybe if I had some less light in here, I guess it looks kind of crazy aimed right at you, but anyways, whole lot better, whole lot brighter. Alright guys, what I did here is, well, I wouldn't say overboard, but a little step extra. Installed this Silas. It's 4 mil thick, I believe. It's gonna help out a lot as far as I don't know, Louisiana heat and stuff beating down on the roof. But yeah, I didn't get too crazy with it. Put some aluminum foil tape, you know, cover up all that kill mat and any seams. But when I say quiet, I mean it's quiet. But yeah, it ought to help. Just a little something extra. I'm just gonna do the roof. I'm not getting crazy and doing back behind the seats or anything. But all right, next up is to get the new headliner mounted up now that I got it all covered, and throw the visors on and mount that center console. I already got the wires all set up, so finally seeing some progress.